2025, the Middle East. Two of the region's most powerful nations, locked in direct confrontation. Iran, Israel. A simmering tension that had lasted for decades has now erupted into full-scale conflict. For many, this war didn't begin in 2025. Its seeds were sown over decades of covert battles, ideological rivalries, and shifting alliances. Today, we explain the roots, the reality, and the ripple effects of the Iran-Israel War of 2025. The Iran-Israel War 2025. Part 1. Historical tensions. To understand 2025, we must look back. Iran and Israel were once allies. In the 1950s to the late 1970s, under the Shah, Iran recognized Israel and maintained trade and intelligence relations. But everything changed in 1979. That year, Iran's Islamic Revolution overthrew the monarchy and established a theocratic regime under Ayatollah Khomeini. One of the revolution's core ideological principles? Opposition to Israel, which the new government called the Zionist regime. Since then, Iran has positioned itself as a leader of the so-called resistance axis, supporting anti-Israel groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas in Gaza, and Islamic Jihad. Israel, in response, has worked to curb Iran's regional influence, especially its nuclear program. Part 2. Triggers leading to war. The road to war was gradual, but 2025 had specific triggers. 1. Nuclear escalation. By early 2025, intelligence reports indicated Iran had enriched uranium close to weapons grade, 90% purity. While Iran insisted it was for peaceful energy, Israel viewed this as an existential threat. On March 9, 2025, Israeli Prime Minister Eli Navon publicly warned that the world cannot afford a nuclear Iran. 10 days later, on March 19, a covert Israeli airstrike, allegedly involving F-35 jets, targeted a suspected nuclear facility in Isfahan. Iran vouait revenge. 2. Red Sea conflict. Tensions also flared in the Red Sea. Iran-backed Houthi rebels attacked an Israeli cargo ship. Israel retaliated with a missile strike in Yemen, killing senior IRGC advisors. 3. Hezbollah's mobilization. In late April 2025, Hezbollah began moving missiles closer to Israel's northern border. Israel responded with drone strikes in southern Lebanon. Skirmishes erupted. Part 3. The outbreak of war. On May 4, 2025, Iran launched a massive missile barrage targeting Israeli military bases in the Negev and Dimona, home to Israel's alleged nuclear facility. The Iron Dome and David's Sling intercepted many, but some missiles hit. Israel declared this a declaration of war. Within 24 hours, the Israel Defense Forces launched Operation Iron Resolve, targeting IRGC sites in Iran, Hezbollah positions in Lebanon, and drone factories in Iraq and Syria. Timeline of the first week. May 5th, Tel Aviv and Haifa placed under emergency alert. Schools closed. Anti-missile batteries fully deployed. May 6th, Iran launched drones and ballistic missiles via Iraq and Syria. Dozens intercepted. Some hit oil infrastructure in Haifa. May 7th, Israel strikes IRGC bases in Mashhad and Tabriz. Satellite images show heavy damage. May 8th, cyber attacks knock out power grids in both Tehran and Jerusalem. The conflict was no longer covert. It was open war. Part 4. Military capabilities and strategy. Narrator. Both Iran and Israel are militarily advanced, but very different. Israel. Highly advanced air force, including F-35s. Missile defense systems. Iron Dome, Arrow, David's Sling. Cyber warfare units like Unit 8000 two-handed. Alleged nuclear weapons. Israel has never confirmed or denied. Iran. Ballistic missile arsenal, Shahab Fateh series. Drone technology, Shahid drones. IRGC and Quds force. Proxy forces, Hezbollah, PMF, Houthis. Iran's strategy relied heavily on asymmetric warfare, using proxies to stretch Israeli defenses. Israel's strategy was precision, taking out command centers, infrastructure, and limiting civilian casualties. Part 5. The Global Response. The world watched in shock. United States. President Alex Carter urged restraint but reaffirmed support for Israel. U.S. Navy assets moved closer to the Persian Gulf. American embassies across the region went on high alert. Russia and China called for peace talks. China warned that instability in the Strait of Hormuz could threaten global oil prices. Russia, already tied down in Eastern Europe, provided diplomatic support to Iran but stayed out militarily. Arab states. Mixed reactions. Saudi Arabia and UAE condemned Iran but also urged Israel to stop escalation. Iraq and Syria became battle zones for proxy skirmishes. Qatar and Oman offered to host peace negotiations. Part 6. Proxy fronts and regional spillover. By mid-May, the conflict was spreading. Lebanon. Hezbollah fired over 1,000 rockets in northern Israel. Israel responded with devastating air raids, flattening missile sites in southern Beirut. Gaza. Hamas joined in. Rocket attacks hit Ashkelon and Sderot. Israeli jets retaliated fiercely, targeting tunnels and weapon stockpiles. Iraq and Syria. Israeli strikes targeted IRGC bases in Al-Bukamal, Baghdad, and Aleppo. Iranian drones responded, targeting Israeli radar stations in the Negev. The Red Sea and Gulf. Houthi rebels disrupted shipping. Oil prices spiked. Global markets trembled. Part 7. Nuclear fears. By June 1st, the world's biggest fear was no longer a conventional war. It was nuclear. Though Israel has never confirmed possessing nuclear weapons, intelligence experts believe it has at least 80-90 warheads. Iran, while officially not nuclear, was believed to be only weeks away from breakout capability. Tensions reached a breaking point on June 3rd, when unconfirmed reports claimed Israel conducted a tactical nuclear drill in the Negev. Iran warned of divine vengeance. The UN Security Council called an emergency meeting. Part 8. Ceasefire and ongoing uncertainty. After 31 days of brutal conflict, back-channel diplomacy began to bear fruit. Mediated by Oman and France, a temporary ceasefire was declared on June 10, 2025. Iran would halt missile strikes and curb enrichment over 60%. Israel would cease cross-border operations and lift certain Gaza blockades. Hezbollah would withdraw to 10 km from the Israeli border. But tensions remain. Neither side achieved total victory. Each claimed moral and strategic success. But the human cost was undeniable. Over 7,000 five-handed killed, hundreds of thousands displaced, billions in infrastructure damage, and a fragile peace that could break at any moment. Part 9. What happens next? The 2025 Iran-Israel war was not just a clash of militaries. It was a battle of ideologies, proxies, and power. Key questions remain. Will Iran resume its nuclear ambitions in secret? Will Israel strike again if diplomacy fails? Can the region withstand another war? And what role will superpowers play in the next phase? The war may be paused, but the tension lives on. Peace in the Middle East has always been fragile. In 2025, we saw just how quickly old wounds can reopen and how dangerous unchecked rivalries can become. Let's hope the next chapter is one of dialogue, not destruction. Subscribe for more geopolitical breakdowns. Comment your thoughts below.